What if there was a study technique used by a Nobel Prize-winning scientist that could help you master any subject effortlessly and efficiently? Would you be intrigued? This method, which we'll reveal in this video, was the secret weapon of one of the greatest minds of the 20th century and has been used by modern visionaries like Elon Musk and Bill Gates. And it's just one of the 9 unique, scientifically proven study methods we are going to explore together. And hold on to your hats, because one of these methods could potentially skyrocket your grades by a whopping 76% in just 1 month. These aren't your everyday flashcards, highlighters, or late-night cramming sessions. These are techniques with unique approaches, high effectiveness, and innovative learning structures. Now, if you stay till the end and explore all 9, I can virtually guarantee that at least a few of these will be new to you. And at least one of these can revolutionize your learning process and help you achieve your academic or personal learning goals. Ready to turbocharge your studying process? Let's dive in! Hey there, fellow learners! I'm Rod from the Epic Nudger, nudging your way to success one video at a time. On this channel, we delve into scientifically backed strategies and tools to help you maximize your potential, boost your productivity, and create a life of learning and fulfillment you love. So if you are new here, hit that subscribe button and let's embark on this journey together. Alright, let's get into the meat of today's video. The 9 methods for studying smarter, not harder. Remember, these aren't just random tips. They are backed by science and have been used by successful students worldwide. So let's get started. The first method we are going to discuss is spaced repetition. Spaced repetition is all about breaking down your study material into smaller chunks. Then, review each chunk at regular intervals, allowing the information to be absorbed and retained. For example, if you are learning a new language, you might review new vocabulary on day 1, then again on day 3, day 7, and so on. The key is to gradually increase the time between each review session. It's like watering a plant. You don't drown it in water all at once. You water it a little each day, allowing it to absorb the moisture and grow. What is the best way to do it? The first review of the material should be after 24 hours. The second review after 2 or 3 days. The third after a week. The fourth after 2 weeks, and so on. The intervals between reviews gradually increase after a month, then 3 months, and finally after 6 months. But remember, you might need to change this plan a bit. If you are forgetting things before the next time you are supposed to review, you might need to look at them more often. But if you are finding things easy and remembering them well, you might be able to wait longer before you look at them again. This way, spaced repetition becomes your own special way of learning, made just for you. Now, instead of trying to figure out all these tricky steps, you can let apps like Anki or any other spaced repetition app do the heavy lifting for you. It's like having a helper who keeps track of when it's time to study again. The next method is the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique is a time management method that can transform your study sessions. You study for a set amount of time, typically 25 minutes, and then take a short break for 5 minutes. This cycle is repeated 4 times, after which you take a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. Why does this work? Well, imagine you are running a marathon. If you try to sprint the entire distance, you'll exhaust yourself before you reach the finish line. But if you pace yourself, taking short breaks to rest and hydrate, you'll maintain your energy levels and reach the finish line without burning out. The same principle applies to studying. By breaking your study time into manageable chunks, you are giving your brain the chance to rest and recharge, enhancing your focus and productivity. So what should you do during these breaks? Well, the choice is yours. Personally, I believe it's beneficial to engage in an activity that's different from what you have been doing, like stepping away from the computer or the book and getting up from our seats. Perhaps taking a stroll outside engaging in some physical activity that doesn't involve staring at the screen. To make this process even more effective, you can use apps like Forest. This app gamifies the Pomodoro technique, allowing you to plant a virtual tree that grows during your focus time and withers if you leave the app. It's a fun and motivating way to stay focused and productive. But remember, the key to the Pomodoro technique is discipline. During your study time, you should be studying and nothing else. Save the distractions for your break time. This way, you are conditioning your brain to focus during study time and relax during break time. Ever tried putting together a puzzle but found some pieces were missing? This is what it feels like when you're trying to learn something complex but can't quite grasp it. That's when the Feynman technique, a learning method created by a man known as the Great Explainer, steps in to help. Richard Feynman, an American scientist, learned advanced math all by himself when he was a teen. He studied at renowned schools like MIT and Princeton and even won a Nobel Prize in Physics in 1975. Sure, Feynman was really smart, but what made Feynman really special was his talent for making hard ideas easy to understand. Endorsed by visionaries like Elon Musk and Bill Gates, the Feynman technique is a four-step process that leverages teaching and prioritizes simplicity to help you develop a deep understanding of any topic. Here's how it works. First, take a piece of paper or your favorite note app and write the name of the idea you are learning about at the top. Next, pretend you are teaching this idea to someone else, like a friend, or even better, to a 5-year-old. If you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, you probably don't understand it as well as you think. Use easy, everyday words. Give an example or two and show how to use the idea. Now, look over what you wrote and find the parts that were hard to write. These are the tricky parts that you don't understand all the way. Go back to your book or notes to learn more about these parts. Finally, check if you have written anything that sounds too technical or confusing. Try to write those parts even simpler. Make sure a person who knows nothing about this topic would understand what you wrote. As you can see, the Feynman technique is about truly understanding it, finding the missing pieces of the puzzle, and completing the picture. Before we move on with the next technique, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more educational content. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when we release more fabulous material to your success. Thank you so much. Let's talk about our fourth method, active recall. Did you know that reading and rereading notes is the most popular study technique, even though it is ineffective and time-consuming? Why? That's because simply reading is a passive activity. It's like watching someone else play sport. You might understand the rules, but you won't actually get better at playing the game. Active recall, on the other hand, is like getting on the field and playing the game yourself. Instead of just reading the information, you are actively engaging with it by asking yourself questions and trying to recall the answers. It's like turning your study session into a lively debate. To use active recall, try these quick tips. Make flashcards with questions and answers to test your memory. Write questions in your notes for later review. Pause during reading to summarize what you have learned. Use practice questions and past exams to test your knowledge. And finally, explain the material to someone else to reinforce your understanding. Elaboration is a powerful learning technique that's like adding a turbocharger to your brain's engine. It's about diving deep into the material, connecting the dots, and making the information stick like a catchy tune. Unlike the Feynman technique, which simplifies concepts, elaboration is about adding layers of understanding, like an artist adding details to a painting. Imagine you're a detective, not just collecting facts, but weaving them together to solve a mystery. That's what elaboration is all about. You are not just memorizing information, you're exploring it, asking questions, and finding connections. It's like turning a flat map into a 3D landscape. To use elaboration, start by looking at the material you need to learn. Then, ask yourself questions. How does this connect to what I already know? Why is this important? How does this apply to real life? For example, if you're studying economics, don't just memorize supply and demand. Think about how it affects the prices at your local grocery store or the job market. Elaboration is like a mental workout. It might be challenging at first, but the more you practice, the stronger your understanding becomes. It's like building a web of knowledge, where each new piece of information is a strand that strengthens the whole. So, the next time you're studying, don't just read the material. Dive in, ask questions, and explore. Turn your study session into an adventure of discovery. And remember, the more connections you make, the stronger your understanding will be. The next method we're going to talk about is visualization. Visualization turns abstract concepts into vivid, memorable images. It's like turning your study material into a colorful comic strip that's fun to read and hard to forget. Imagine you're an artist and your study material is your canvas. Instead of just reading about the human circulatory system, you draw it. You visualize the heart as a powerful pump, the veins and arteries as highways carrying the life-giving oxygen to every part of the body. This isn't just about making a pretty picture, it's about creating a mental map that guides your understanding. To use visualization, start by translating the information into a visual format. This could be a mind map, a flowchart, or even a doodle. The key is to make the image meaningful to you. The more personal and vivid the image, the more likely you are to remember it. So, the next time you are faced with a complex concept or a long list of items, don't just read it. Visualize it. Turn your study material into a vivid mental movie that's easy to remember. Mnemonic devices are creative methods designed to embed information into your memory in a way that's easier to retrieve. They are not just about memorizing facts, but about transforming them into memorable and meaningful experiences. Let's dive into the world of mnemonic devices. Picture this. You are in a memory competition and you are tasked with memorizing the order of a shuffled deck of cards. Sounds impossible, right? But with mnemonic devices, it's not only possible, it's doable. Memory champions often use a technique called the memory palace, where they associate each card with a vivid image and place these images along a familiar route in their mind, like rooms in their house. Now, imagine applying this to your studies. You're trying to remember the stages of cell division. Instead of just reading them off a textbook, you create a memory palace. You visualize each stage as a different room in your house, with key features of each stage represented by unique, vivid objects in each room. But mnemonic devices aren't just about visual imagery. They also include acronyms like Roy G. Biv for the colors of the rainbow, and acrostics, where the first letter of each word form a sentence. For example, in biology, King Philip came over for good soup is a common acrostic to remember the taxonomic ranks: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. And then there is chunking, a technique where you break down information into smaller, manageable groups. It's like organizing a messy room into neat piles. Instead of trying to remember a long string of numbers, you break them down into chunks, making them easier to remember. In essence, mnemonic devices are about making information stick by making it meaningful and engaging. They transform the mundane into the memorable, turning the act of studying into an adventure through a landscape of vivid imagery and creative associations. So next time you're faced with a mountain of information to remember, give mnemonic devices a try. Alright, let's dive into our 8th way, interleaving, with a real life example. You are a 7th grader trying to wrap your head around algebra and geometry. Your teachers decide to shake things up a bit. Instead of the usual routine of focusing on one type of problem at a time, they start mixing different types of problems in your homework. This is interleaving in action. Now you might be thinking, that sounds confusing. But here's the twist. When the final test rolls around, you find that you're scoring 25% better on the problems you practice with interleaving. And when you are tested again 1 month later, your advantage has skyrocketed to 76%. That's right, 76%. This isn't just a hypothetical scenario. It's the result of a 3-month study conducted by cognitive psychologist Doug Rohrer and his team. They found that interleaving can be a game changer in real-world settings. The benefits are not just immediate, they are long-lasting and even increase over time. But why does interleaving work so well? Well, when you mix up your study topics, your brain has to work a bit harder. It's constantly switching gears between different types of information. This workout makes your brain stronger. It helps you understand better, remember more, and ace those exams. So, how do you use interleaving in your study routine? It's all about mixing it up. Instead of dedicating a whole study session to one topic, you sprinkle in a bit of everything. Let's say you are studying for finals in math, history, and biology. Instead of dedicating Monday to math, Tuesday to history, and Wednesday to biology, you study a bit of each subject every day. So, whether you are learning a new language, picking up a musical instrument, or even mastering a sport, why not give interleaving a try? It might feel a bit challenging at first, but the game could be a significant boost to your learning. Alright, here's the last and maybe the most important tip. Knowing and staying away from common study mistakes. Even the best study tricks won't work if we are accidentally messing up our own studying. That's why it's really important to know about the traps that can make learning harder. But what are these mistakes? In the next video, we'll be showing you these common traps that could be silently sabotaging your study. See you there.